Dr. Joshi is an academician, able academic administrator, an unassuming creative person, a versatile personality indeed. I humbly invite Dr. Joshi to share his views on role of IQAC in assessment and accreditation. Dr. Joshi.
Thank you. Thank you very much for very good introduction. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. P.P. Patil, Vice Chancellor of the University, Maulikar sir, my friend, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Satish Deshpande, Joint Director of the region, Principal of this college, Dr. R.S. Patil, congratulations to you for a wonderfully organized program. My colleague, who has been instrumental in organizing this mega event and is being in touch with all of you, Dr. Pabrekar, all principals who are listening to me or hearing to me, because they can do both the things. My fellow panelists, right now you have heard one of the very illustrious principal of college, Dr. Rawal sir. He has given you a very detailed and in-depth analysis of how to collect the documents, which is very requirement of a NAC, because you have to be very authentic in what you are submitting. At the same time, Professor Vani Laturkar madam has given you overview, and I am being asked to talk about a role of an IQAC in the entire process of a quality initiatives which we undertake. So I will be, I minister, that NAC accreditation and NIRF, they are meaningless. They cannot be compared. And why this ardent academician is making this remark to our honorable PM? He's doing so because the NAC accreditation is not an episodic ritual for a college for getting a grant, but it's a continuous journey towards imbibing quality and taking quality further and assuring quality to our students. Now, the internal quality assurance cell basically is being introduced on the basis of what is being introduced as a quality revolution into the industries. You know what is called as a quality circle, a small group of workers who do the same or similar work. They come together, they identify a problem in the factory workshop, they analyze the problem, and they incrementally, slowly keep on giving suggestion. And even a last person of the floor shop, even a peon who is working there, or a large person who is working there, he also can give suggestion. And because of these suggestions, I think we can improve the quality of the industry. The Japanese concept of the quality enhancement is Kaizen. It is creating a continuous improvement based on a very small ongoing positive change. We don't want a drastic change. We want small ongoing changes all the time that will create and reap a significant improvement in our entire learning. Toyota uses it. Six Sigma, and thereafter there are many quality movements which will be imbibed by the industry. And what Six Sigma does is, it's a disciplined, statistically based, data-driven approach for a continuous improvement. And the methodology which is used is very interesting. So all this quality movement, our organizations are asked to work on this. So what does the quality circle does? The quality circle will do, check, act, and a plan. So it will perform, it will monitor what they are performing, it will try to improve themselves, and then again plan for the further improvement. So it is a continuous PDCA cycle which quality circle does. Then at the same time, what Kaizen does, there is a cycle of people getting involved. I think there are a lot of people who are coming in a waiting room. So somebody, if you can keep on adding to them very quickly, because it is hampering what I'm doing, trying to see my slide. Please, can you just help me out? So you get employee involved, make a list of the issues or a problem which are there, encourage the solution, test the solution, then implement the solution, see the success of the solution, and then repeat it with the ongoing basis so that sustenance come. And the third, which I am mentioning, is about a Six Sigma. Now, in this Six Sigma, you have to define the problem, measure and quantify the problem, analyze the problem, improve at a giving solution, maintain the control over the solution, and again define whether we have improved or not. So in all these quality parameters, one thing which is very sure, what they are doing is looking for a problem, analyzing problem, and making system work for itself, and they constantly improving what kind of an activity which is happening in their industries, in the shop floors. Now the quality is a continuous process. It's not an accident. Quality has to be very, very continuously enhanced. And you cannot have a quality control without first having quality management and quality assurance. An internal quality assurance cell is expected to do the same thing for our colleges. We keep on doing student satisfaction evaluation, and sir has cursorily mentioned, Rawal sir has mentioned about it. Now, all these audits which we do, they are not meant for keeping into cupboards, are not meant to just submitting to the NAC and getting marks because it has been asked, but they are all are telling you something. You have to make a strategic benchmark, how best we are good, how best we are bad in comparison with our fellow institutions. I think we need to have a process standardization. The process, for example, an admission process, examination process, how you will going to give sanction to a project which the child is going to do, how you're going to give a sanction for a small research project. Now, all these processes has to be standardized. Unfortunately, we don't standardize the processes. And the quality management system should certify these processes, then the quality assurance come. But unfortunately, we have been asked for a composition, and this composition is of internal quality assurance cell. You have a chairman who is the head of the institution, and you will see there are all members from the various stakeholder of an educational conglomerate. You have a management representative, teacher representative, local society representative, alumni, parents, industrialists, stakeholders, and of course a director internal quality assurance cell, coordinator internal quality assurance cell. The moment principal appoints somebody as an internal quality assurance cell in charge, the person feels that he is punishing me. He is giving me this particular job purposely. He is want to harass me because he knows it is very, very difficult to work as an internal quality assurance cell director or a coordinator. I think you'll have to select this person very carefully. Now, if I keep on talking about how to select people for these jobs, I think itself will be a big, big talk. Because you cannot have an industrialist who is so big that he never appears for the meetings. You cannot have your alumni who is not tech savvy, who doesn't have a love to your institution. So I think principal has to do a job. You cannot have a person who is not acceptable all, because you have to deal, the internal quality assurance cell director has to deal with everyone. So he has to be sweet tongue, he has to be very calm, quiet, he has to be consistent in his approaches, he should not have a conflict, he should not have an ego. And I think these are the qualities which I think we are looking into these people. Nevertheless, what internal quality assurance cell are doing today? They are keeping records. the internal quality assurance cell is not just record keeping agency, and it is a frustrating record keeping agency. Every internal quality assurance cell director will tell you that you keep on asking for a documents and nobody gives information at all. He keeps on moving to pillar to post for the information for the NAC, which is been for the institution, and the seniors bother him, juniors bother him. He says that, no, we have already given, take it from our personal file, why to give again and again? And if he doesn't have that information, so it is sole job of collecting information becomes so rigid and so ridiculous that he gets frustrated with that job. Now, all IQAC coordinators we do, I have been NAC, I've been accrediting several colleges, and I've been going as a peer team member. So what everybody, when we go to the NAC, when we listen to the IQAC coordinators and IQAC people, what IQAC is doing? IQAC is organizing programs. Every seminar, every workshop, every exhibition which is done in a college, IQAC says that we have done it. IQAC is doing magazine, IQAC is doing annual function, IQAC is doing all administrative job. Of course, they have to collect information, they have to do an AQAR, they have to submit it in time, they have to do SSR. All that they have to do, but they have to do something much beyond what is expected from the IQAC. What is expected from the IQAC? What IQAC should do? IQAC should develop systems. The systems which are constant, it should be there. They're consistent, which keeps on happening again and again and again, so that the quality of every activity is assured. IQAC has to do a catalytic role in developing this system. As in our chemistry, we have catalyst, which will hasten the reaction. IQAC is supposed to identify the several gaps in the processes which we do and pen down those gaps, ease out those gaps, and write the whole process again so that it can be implemented further as it happens in Kaizen, Quality Circle, or other quality assurance cells. Yet it has to action plan for the performance evaluation of every activity of a college. And that's the reason why Rawal sir has shown you a huge list about audit and feedbacks. So IQAC has to plan this audit and feedbacks. It has to take quality on a higher scale and have a realistic goal setting for the organization. For example, Patil sir college, I was listening to him very carefully. I think he want to develop one post-graduation course. How to develop? When it is going to happen? Whether we have done a market survey around, whether it is required, what it takes, what is the process of application to university, what is the requirement of that course, whether this, before LIC comes, whether all these requirements are there in place, whether people will take this course, whether students want this course, all this analysis, the IQAC should do, and then decide that we want to introduce this course next year or after next year. So realistic goal setting is a role of IQAC. And of course, the assessment accreditation is also one role of IQAC, and of which I think IQAC should strive for a documentation. And you have heard very critical presentation of Dr. Rawal. Documentation is not just collecting paper and then arranging them. Documentation has to be systematically done, classifying them the way it is worn. And now it is all digital. You have to have a geo photographs, geotag photographs. You have to upload it. You have to have a website in place. So institutional database enhancement is also a job of an internal quality assurance cell. Preparing timely submission of AQAR. Now, if you've seen a recent letter which has come from NAC, it says that if you don't submit AQAR, you will not get some marks, and neither you're qualified to participate in the competition to get grants. It means you cannot apply RUSA if you have failed the date of AQAR. Because I think that consistently you have to submit an AQAR. And now what I feel in coming days, you don't have to prepare an SSR. All this AQAR collectively will become your statistics for SSR, and a very minor SSR will be submitted. So I think IQAC has to be keeping this eye on when and how to submit this AQAR. Now, if I am saying that this is all, system should be in place, upgradation of quality, goal setting, all this I am saying, why it is not reaching to our organizations? Why it is so difficult for us to imbibe this kind of an expectation for internal quality assurance cell? The answer is the institutional systems and governance are firmly in place. What our principal says, what our management says, we have been doing it for 30 years. We are admitting students, we are taking exam. We have been doing it for umpteen number of years. The systems are in place. We don't want to change those systems. In fact, that's an apathy or a resistance to the change. We have to critically first decide that every system, however is strong, however is good, it has got a possibility of improvement, a marginal improvement, so that the efficiency will go on. And this suggestion can come from all sides. All sides, even a Darwan who is at the gate can give you some suggestion which can if you implement, the certain processes can be improved. Flow of students, lining, all that can be improved. Now, and our attitude is lethargic towards this. Things are happening, why you are bothering us? Forget about it. You do that NAC assessment on all that. I think we need to take into consideration the best idea and don't delay in implementation this idea. And for that, I will be giving you certain practical exercises today so that we imbibe, at least in your university and colleges, everybody who is listening to me can take it forward a little bit and understanding the internal quality assurance cell's job and doing what exactly internal quality assurance cell is expected to do. You are expected to create a policy and processes. I'm going to explain what policy and how processes can be kept in place. You're supposed to create a process performance monitoring systems. It means, sir has very clearly mentioned you in the criteria 1, the diary is maintained, there is a timetable, the workflow, whether it is happening or not. But teacher's diary is maintained, it is printed, it is taken from somebody else. And afterward, teacher never fill it. They will write it something when head of the department gives a pressure to them. And then it will come to head of the department. Head of the department says, I cannot sign so many things, keep it on my table. So he then looks into what he has done. And then it goes to principal. Principal is expected to sign. And entire year's diary is written in 10 days. I think, is it a maintenance of the diary? Is it an academic performance monitoring system? Is it a system is in place? I think no, it is not. The administrative process. I'll give you a classic example. Now, there is a railway concession or ST concession. Now, every student will come and crib with a principal. Sir, you used to have a lecture and there is a long queue and we cannot get an ST concession or railway concession in time. Now, have these administrative processes been defined? Who is expected to what? When? In how much time? I think we need to define. Then we need to have a quality benchmarking processes in place. There is a difference between benchmark and benchmarking. Benchmarking is something that also I'm going to explain you to detail. I'm expecting 4 things from the entire activity. Now, research program. I'm very sure everybody is doing research. But in this research, if I ask any principal of a college, what are your thrust areas of your college? They will say that no, they have done their own PhD, they will keep on doing research, because we work in a silos. We are very individualistic. So much so, if suppose you got a project from a UGC, and if you have purchased one machine, the PI, principal investigator, will say that this is my machine, and it will be used only by my student, and he keeps in lock and key. Is it a way to do it? No, it is not. So we have to sit together and decide what are our strengths and take it further so that we have a thrust area in a research so that something comes out. I think there's a classic white paper which I was reading, and it was a classic white paper which has been written. whether India spend on a research as compared to other countries, you will not believe India spend equally on a research, academic research, than any other country in the world, any other developed country in the world. But what is their outcome and what is our outcome? This is being written by Kakodkar sir. I think uh, I can give you that paper which he has written. So if you compare with Spain, if you compare with Italy, if you compare the best of the countries, India spends it. But we work in silos. We don't work in teams because Indians are good as individual. Once they become a team, it is very difficult exercise. So I think we need to, and sir has very critically on a last slide mentioned, he said that tolerate differences. And he mentions that you have to respect the diverse views. That is what he mentioned. And I think uh, this is very difficult and done, right? So integration of modern ICT methods. ICT methods mean just you can record your lecture and put it in YouTube. That is ICT method? No. You have to invest in a technology and you have to invest in a technology wisely. So how you're going to deal with what kind of a technologies which are using, what free technologies are currently available, how these technologies can be placed in our organization, evaluation process, simple invigilation process. Now I am going to explain the support system and you have to collaborate and have network. These are the jobs actually for the IQAC. So my first bullet point was policy, process, and procedures. Now, what is policy? Policy is a course of a principle of an action adopted by the institution. So we have a policy that we are going to give free ship to the students who are not availing any government scholarship from our kitty. Now, this is a policy. Every student who wants some help will be provided to them. And many colleges do that. Many managements are doing it for the students who are needy. Now, if this is a policy, what will be the process? How you are going to decide who is needy, whether, because there will be many, whom to give, so that becomes a process. So application, what kind of income they have, whether they are 2 kids, 4 kids, 3 kids, where they live, try to find out, and then a process flow, how you're going to go about it. So policy, process, and procedures. Now I'm sure our colleges does everything what I'm saying, but it is being done by an individual. There is no documentation which is available for an entire process flow of any activity which we do in a college. And I am been looking at BITS Pilani, IIT Mumbai, Harvard University. You will have a student handbook in place. If the student comes in a college, he knows beforehand where are the facilities, which are the support systems he has. For example, if my teacher, he has assessed the paper and he wants his bill. Now, there is a process. You have to write a bill. And then everybody says that university is not giving bill for last umpteen number of years. We have assessed the papers, we have not got the bills. Now, if the process flow is there and a process in charge is there, now university says that we have given advance to college. They have not fulfilled that advance. So we will be not allotting you money. Now, I think there is a catch why this is happening, why this lethargic thing is happening. Why only from university, from our college? So if you submit a bill, the exam coordinator then checks, then it goes to a clerk, then it goes to registrar, then principal signs, then it is transferred to the account. No, this is entire process. Why can't we write? Why can't our policy be every teacher should be paid money in 3 days after he completes evaluation? If this is a policy, we can have a process in place and process in charges in place so that we can come to know where is a bottleneck. Now let us see what are the standard policy formats. There's a policy header which talks about the policy title. The policy is about what? Then there is a purpose, what for this policy is. Then there is a policy statement. we says that how we are going to operate, as I told, the process and procedure, then the definitions, because whatever policy statement you decide, you have to define what that means, what that word means which is used. Then a table of content, then the scope, then the responsibilities, who is responsible for doing this role. Simple example I can give. Uh, we have auditoriums in our colleges or conference room in colleges. Now, allotting conference room for activity or allotting conference room for outsiders, do we have a policy? There are two applications, whom to give. So I think there is a clear cut laid out, whether to charge, whether not to charge, what is the duration, who is going to take care of lights, who is going to take care of technology. I think all this can come into the policy. Now, if you see, and sir has very clearly mentioned this, in a curricular aspect, that there is a curriculum delivery policy. There is a feedback policy. In teaching, learning and evaluation, there is an admission and reservation policy. There is a mentoring policy. There is an exam grievances policy. In research and innovation, there is a publication ethics policy. Plagiarism policy comes under this. So extension activity policy. So in each and every criteria, you will find ICT policy, infrastructure utilization and maintenance policy, scholarship policy. So there are several policies, and these policies are not documented in our college, and there we lose a lot of marks. Forget about marks. I am not talking about marks. I always say that whenever you are in a jungle and following a lion will, you may see, you may not see. Don't forget the jungle. I think the process is important, not the destination. And so this policy should be in place, so automatically you will improve. Now, there are two things which I think this is being given me by Kangude sir, who always keeps on telling me that these are the two policies having 3.57 and RMC 3.46, which are the best available policies by the colleges. I have seen Harvard policy, BITS Pilani policy, IIT Mumbai policy, IIT Kharagpur policy. Why not see their policies? Now, if we can able to see their policies, I will like to show you one of the policy. I hope I can able to, can you see this St. Teresa College Autonomous on the screen? Can anybody tell me? It is visible? Hello?
No, sir, only slide is
Sir, kindly turn on the presentation mode.
No, I have, I don't know, means I think.
You are in presentation mode.
Right, but then I want to show something which is a policy. So can I show that?
Yeah, you can share again the screen.
Okay. So
you have to stop this screen sharing.
Yes,
and
yes,
you switch
yes,
on.
Yes, yes, sure. Oh, stop share.
Right. Yeah. Now so, you share.
Yes. Right. Can you see this now?
Not yet.
No, I have stopped and now I have shared. Is it possible?
You can share now. Yes, yes. You just share it so that it will appear. Okay.
It will appear. Other related hardware such as printer, projectors, the use of network infrastructure. Now this is the policy statement. Then this is a scope of the policy. Then this is reviewed period of the policy. Then the rules on responsible of the policy. And this is a wonderfully drafted policy, which are the prohibitions also can be mentioned. So access to the college equipment, facility, network information or accounts without authorization. So I think if suppose, and they have a wonderful policy documented, all which I have mentioned earlier. Now, can't we see this kind of a policy documents which has been done by other colleges and draft our own policies so that something which is relevant happens? I think I think we need to keep on doing that, because unless we do that, whatever we do will not become deliberate and not become on a very, very higher scale. So I think in the matrices, wise standard operating procedures I have listed, which is a matrix, what document is needed. I think sir has explained it very well. So I will not, but then not in the format which I have mentioned. The second part, so my request to all those principals who are listening to me today, I will request in the region, and I think Satish Deshpande sir is also listening to me, that please draft at least 2 to 3 policy documents for your college which are critical. Now, you please do all, but if you can at least 2, which I think you should draft, then only we will imbibe what is an internal quality assurance cell function. The second part, which I think we never do, is quality benchmarking. Now, you know, there was an advertising, uski kameez mere kameez se safed kaise. No, we always compare. No, that college has got A++, and then we got A-, team kharab tha. No, all this we keep on talking about each other, but then whether we benchmark with the best of the best colleges. Why number of chartered accountants which are produced by BMCC are more than any other commerce college? Now, this is a benchmarking exercise, let us do. So we have to go to Rawal sir and ask him what you are doing. Then he will tell you, we are doing this. Then compare it with what you are doing. Now, if he is doing something different, please do it. Your chartered accountant number will increase. So how well we are doing compared to others? How good do we want to be? Where you want to go? Who is doing the best in the league? How do they do it? And how can we adapt what they do it in our institutions? And how can we be better than the best? There are certain colleges which are small colleges. They will ask me questions. Joshi sir, this is all right. You keep on asking about base of the base. You know, there are ground realities. I have also come from a very small town like Angao, where I have done my schooling, and I have been sitting in a floor, which is mud dung floor. And I am been from that region. So I know, and I think we should stop now cribbing. This divide between urban and cities is now bridged. So my submission to these small colleges is, please look at slightly better college than you, so that you improve incrementally. Instead of looking at the college of Dr. Rajendra Patil sir, you can look at some small college in your area and try to improve on that. So how best we can do is, I think, is a question. So as I told you, I think I would have given some other example, because in Konkan I given example of mango. Here also I would have given some other example. Now, why my apple is green and why his apple is so brightly red? What kind of a maintenance he does? What kind of a manure he uses? I think that is comparing ourselves, and there are steps. So identify the critical process, collect the internal data for comparison, measure the performance, understand the strength and weakness, decide with whom you want to compare, best of the best in class or just internal units or other college or other university. Decide, collect the data from that, do a qualitative quantitative analysis, do calls, surveys, site visit, interviews, and then after collecting the systematic data, do a gap analysis between them and us and try to improve a strategy to adopt the best practices which they do. An action plan from the change can be planned and implement that change and measure the result for effectivity. This is what the benchmarking means. People keep on talking about benchmarking, but they will never tell you how to do benchmarking. For example, let us take an example of a college website. If their website is good, why my website is not so good? Then there are benchmarks for the website, whether it is device neutral. Their website maybe can be seen in a mobile. Our website is not seen in mobile. What is a page load time? What kind of a graphics they have? What is a response time? How much time student stays on that website? whether it is giving correct information for parent different, for student different, for faculty different, or it is giving same information to all. Now, if you compare this kind of an analytics, and there are Google Analytics forms which are available now for any technology, I think we can very easily find out fault in what our website has got certain lacuna. We can improve our website on the basis of this kind of a benchmark. The third point which I am mention is all these policies which I mentioned earlier, how to develop a policy and how to develop a procedure, which I think this slide would have been on the top. And the policy flow, which I have discussed in the earlier thing. Now, the next thing is, we keep on doing so many feedback and audit. What happens to those feedback and audit? Any quality circle movement or any quality parameter movement is very important, and Rawal sir has mentioned this in his disposition. That what happens to your financial audit? What happens to your gender audit? What are observation of this audit? Whether we are going to take this observation forward, or we keep on asking other principal, who is doing that green audit? Do you know any agency who does that green audit? Please send me the format of green audit. Then I will write the green audit format and then write in a NAC accreditation, we have done green audit. We have done energy audit. What is the use of that green audit and energy audit? It is just like a brainwave in a project of the student who has done. We have to take that brainwave further. And I think if that doesn't happen, then I think we are doing a ritual, episodic ritual after each 5 years. Just a ritual. The ritual is over. We got the grade. Forget about it. The one thing which are all people who are cursing the IQAC coordinator, the grade will become there. A grade. Our college is now A grade. We have done something. And the same person, when in a process used to say, what happened to your NAC? They will ask them very pokingly. What happened to your NAC? And once the grade is, they receive a grade, the grade is of everyone. Point I'm trying to make is, it should not be a single episodic ritualistic event. We Indians are good in doing rituals. And I think these activity, for example, student satisfaction survey is telling you something. You are not listening to them. He's telling you there is some flaw in the process. They are not satisfied. But what we have been taught, we will show this like this. We will show this. But we are not real. We want to show something. The students are satisfied. That is what. So train your students so that they answer properly. I think then this is not a right way of taking feedback. This is not a right way. What happened to the feedback to the syllabus? Are we going to write to the academic council of our university about the feedback? What happens to the energy audit? Let me take one example. This is a classic cycle. You have a select a project, explain the reason, set the goal, and then 11, 12 steps are there and the continuous evaluation happens. So let me take a green audit report. This is an extract from the report of one of the college. I don't want to name the college, but this is an international standard green audit report which has been given. In a green audit, they keep on doing about whether you recycle your waste, your maximum your water consumption, what happens to your energy, light. Now this particular report is saying that reduce energy consumption in that column. They are saying, please do switch off drill. There is a switch off drill. There's a process. For example, all our colleges, especially in the cities, because we have a junior college and senior college, maybe in your area as well, our college starts at 7 o'clock. The pune comes at 6:30. In a winter, the light is dim. So pune keeps on, put on all lights of the corridor. Then first lecture gets over, second lecturer gets over, the lights are still there. Somebody keeps on walking through corridor and then decide, oh sir, the light chalu hai. Whether we are doing a switch off drill so that we reduce the energy. This is what the energy audit is saying. Are we implementing it? No, that is not our job. Once we give a report, that is over. For example, every college who is having a chemistry lab keeps on putting all heavy metal in gutter, in a common sewage. When you are talking about green chemistry inside, ill effect of heavy metals, how heavy metals are harmful to the ecosystem. This particular report says that college should do something, though they are soluble, there are heavy metal, they should not throw directly in the sewage. But you cannot have a sewage treatment plant. But there is a NEERI who has developed certain plants which keeps on absorbing heavy metal. Are we not ready to put small plant so that they absorb heavy metal? This says that there is no point for recycling waste. It's a single point. So point I'm trying to make with all this is, every audit tells you something. We have to carefully listen the audit response, and we are supposed to take that audit response as an input so that our quality gets improved. Not a ritual which we all do. I also have done a similar kind of a ritual. So I think the fourth point which I am saying is teaching and learning. I think this is a main thing which I have mentioned, that develop system and monitoring system for academics. Now, during this pandemic, it is very good that all our colleges are quickly adapting to distance learning, adapting to online teaching, online learning, and reaching out to our students. Now, this is going to stay. Suppose this pandemic has got three kind of responses. If it settles, our colleges will reopen. But then too, we'll have to keep on doing 30% of our work online. Now, if it will not settle, we have to do everything online. And if the pandemic is cyclic, that there is a peak and another peak going down, I think we'll have to reopen, close, open, close. Now, this is a scenario which I think we are expecting. So these are the three scenarios. One is toggle scenario where we switch on, switch off. One is everything online. And other scenario is we'll start teaching but with an online assistance. Have you ever thought that what kind of a technology we should employ? If our teachers have got a digital literacy, young teachers have got digital literacy, but slightly senior teacher, whether they have a digital literacy, can they handle Moodle? Can they handle Google Classroom? If not, can we have and adapt and keep on doing some training and capacity building exercises from them? Which kind of a pedagogy which you're going to employ? Flip class pedagogy is a buzzword. It doesn't mean that flip class pedagogy is only pedagogy. And then we know the words. Huh? We are better at coining all these beautiful words. Interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, learning by doing, experiential learning. And if what is our interdisciplinary? If suppose history and chemistry does one function together, it is our interdisciplinary kind of work. It's not. We'll have to keep on understanding the conceptual interdisciplinary kind of work. Point I'm making is we have to adapt to the new reality because of a COVID pandemic. But is it so that all the lectures which we are doing online, you just record it and put it on the online? That is what you are expected to do? Absolutely not. There are researches which say that these are what we should do: a learner-centric environment, capacity building of faculty, integration of ICT, and most importantly, transparency in the system and using feedbacks and audit. Everybody feels that wonderful media means we have put our point across online. It is not. Media rich is not mind rich. If in online, less is more. It should be concise, coherent, coordinated kind of a content. So creating online learning is an art. It is creating an online experience. So it is coordinated and concise and consistent. So if very good music or very good image cannot convey what you want to convey in the online teaching. So are we going to imbibe this? So my suggestion to you is that I have taken only 4 points from the list of the points. The first suggestion I am giving you is every IQAC coordinator first should think that this is a chance given by the destiny to contribute to my college in terms of quality and my student, it is an important responsibility. It is not a headache. It is not a burden. If you look at it as a point of a burden, it looks very difficult. Let people keep on talking anything. We will be using our senses with a dogged determination for a one and only approach that how to improve quality of my institution. Many IQAC coordinator keep on telling me, sir, you tell all this, it is wonderful, wonderful to listen. Who is going to listen us? We are lions without teeth. Nobody listens to us. Or they will say, they ridicule us. They don't give that kind of a weightage for what we are saying. I think my advice to internal quality assurance cell, because there are a lot of internal quality assurance cell chairmen listening to me right now, my advice to you is, I think keep on doing good work. A small quality change when it is reflected in the performance of the student, that is the best satisfaction you will get in your life. And moment that happens, right from management, principal to last person will look at you differently. And then they will listen to you. So first, we can desire, but let us score. Respect is always commanded. It is never demanded. So let us have a commanding respect by a consistent work in terms of quality as an IQAC coordinator. And you become suddenly important. And I have one saying always, if you see the constantly falling waterfall on a big rock, the consistency of a falling water can break a rock. So be consistent in your approach when you are improving quality. Do little bit, small change. Let people say anything. Let them avoid you. Do this. I think you will command a respect in college. As soon as you get a grade, IQAC coordinator gets all sort of compliments of the hard work he has done. It is difficult during that phase, but it is commendable when the phase is over. And I think we have to tide over that phase. I know that many colleges are going for second cycle, third cycle, fourth cycle. I want you to introspect that what as a quality assurance cell in a first cycle we have done, what in the second cycle you have done, or what we will be doing in the first cycle, those who are going in the first time. If you change the approach, which is a real approach which NAAC expects or international higher education systems expect from improving and sustaining and assuring quality to our students, because we owe to our students. We don't owe to anybody else, but the student who comes in your class, student who is dependent on you. Students keep on looking at you because they are so blind that whatever the teacher says is 100% correct. They will believe you. Now, if this kind of faith they have in you, I think it is our moral responsibility or whatever. It is not important. Then people keep on having an ego clashes. Then they say that, look, he is getting 7 pay. I am an unaided teacher. I am getting less. Why I should do this? In fact, unaided teacher does more job because he is secured. I think we need not see that. We need to contribute for the ultimate and only stakeholder, which is our student, who will going to give you respect once he knows what you have done in his life, because you are changing his life. And so focus on quality enhancement, coordinated between various activities. Unfortunately, in our college, what is happening in one department, other department doesn't know. I think you have to coordinate the entire activity which are happening. Take a decision on the basis of a data and not on the basis of grudges. What data says should decide what change should be there. Make all your system dynamic. And of course, as Rawal sir has mentioned, methodology of a documentation adopt so that you will not have a problem. Because many times the DVV, which Laturkar madam was showing graphic representation of a DVV, is always a problem. Because we keep on giving information at various places with the various agencies. So one data goes to university, one data goes to Deshpande sir's office, one online data goes to ASHA, one online data go to NIRF, and this agency which is been appointed, they are harnessing the data with the AI, artificial intelligence. And you will find the differences because they are looking at what data you are submitting. So we need to have one data, one institution kind of an atmosphere. Same data should be given everywhere, which is authentic, so that we will not find any problem with the DVV process, because many colleges, they are having fun. Forget about accreditation. Let your grade be B, B plus, A plus. We know what is happening. All my colleges which are in interior master will tell me we are at disadvantage. We don't have big building, but the marks for building are now reduced. We don't have research. Mark of research is also been reduced. And they are doing benchmarking now. They are not telling us, but they are doing it. It means if you are in a hilly area, if you are in an Adivasi area, if you are in a disadvantaged area, the all colleges performance in that area, and if you are in a city area and all college performance taken together is that area, I think they are measuring it on the basis of a benchmark of your region. And we have seen that good colleges and interior master colleges getting same mark for a differential content. Because once you push data, you can have this variation amongst the benchmarks. And then you will not be a disadvantage when you are in an interior Maharashtra of the college. And people are listening to us regarding this. So my submission to you all is, I am just keeping the documents and preparing AQR and SSR. Internal quality assurance cell is larger as a quality initiative activity. I will request the 4 things which I have mentioned in my presentation. 1, please write in detail. For example, small processes. You have an invigilator process. The senior who is in charge of the examination, every year, all invigilators, they come together and they give paper. And they say that how the invigilation, can you hear me? Is it their problem, Patil sir? No.
No, we can hear you.
Yeah. So they are supposed to come 10 minutes early. The invigilator is more frightened than the person who is doing copy because he don't know how to deal with copy. Can we have a process? So please have at least 2 to 3 processes in place. Please have 1 or 2 benchmarking in place. Please use the audit as well as the feedback data for improvement for the future. And the third thing, the ICT integration tool, please use wisely, invest wisely, because we keep on investing on the basis of the questions which are asked to us. For example, every college was asked, how many smart classroom do you have? The principal in a CDC immediately says, see, the NAC is asking the smart classroom. We must have smart classrooms. Immediately management sanctions. 5 classrooms should be smart. And they put smart boards. They never select the smart board. They don't give training to the smart board. I think it is a good exercise if you will find what is happening to all smart boards which have been put into the colleges. For example, solar panels. Then there is street light with solar panels. What happened to those solar lights after accreditation? We need to check. So whether we are doing an episodic, whether ritual, or whether we are doing internalizing the quality, institutionalizing the quality mechanism through IQAC is a question which I am posing. And I am requesting you to do 4 things which I have mentioned so that I think a real internal quality assurance cell functioning will be there. And I think today's, I'm very happy that today the title of the entire disposition was what is the role of internal quality assurance cell and AA process. I have not touched AA process for a simple reason. I will overshoot my time if we keep on going on internal. I wanted to make this paradigm shift, at least in a thinking of the principals, IQAC coordinators and teachers, that internal quality assurance cell is something different than what we are doing today, and we must imbibe the philosophy of internal quality assurance cell and improve beyond grades the processes of our college so that quality is sustained and quality is improved permanently. Thank you very much. I think it's a good opportunity is given to me today by the principal of the college, and thank you very much, Pramod Kabrekar sir, to give me opportunity to talk to people, because he is a person who keeps on doing this kind of a program, and he is very dynamic, so he keeps on doing it. And I think I'm very glad to find out a time to meet all of you. I wish everybody who is right now related to IQAC, I will request that please look at the software which is developed by RUSA for compiling data. Your work will be at least 50 to 60% reduced. We have taken some formats from Rawar sir, few principals have given us input, few teachers have given us input, few IQAC coordinators have given us input. I will not say that it is very foolproof, but I'm very sure that it can collate a data very easily using the technology. So please look at that software. It is free of cost. So you can download, start using it, find out parallelly whether it is useful. If it is useful, implement it. If it is not useful, leave it. So with this, I think I thank the organizer. I thank Patil sir. I thank Vice Chancellor of the university, Pro Vice Chancellor and the university. And I could see there are certain colleagues who have joined from Hyderabad, certain colleagues who have joined from Andhra Pradesh. I think welcome to this interaction. The country is one. We all are one. We all are teachers. We have a same passion, and all this passion is for improving quality of higher education. Maharashtra is always forefront in the quality of higher education because we don't have that NAC ambassadors earlier, but every principal has taken himself, because we don't used to have a Paramarsh earlier. But I think as we can light a lamp, one lamp lights the other. I think all my principal colleagues, at least in science and education, if you ask for a help, the help is always forthcoming because we all are one. So thank you very much for joining. I hope to other states, I hope it will be beneficial for you. And purposely, I have not used any Marathi word because I have been told that other state participants are also there, because I would have used Marathi for my, because there are certain terms in Marathi which is understood very well than English. But pardon me, I have not used any of that word. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.